Hi, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday that feels like a Tuesday, or maybe we don't even know what day it is. Welcome to Energize Live. This is where we make magic in the mornings, but first and foremost, we are making Energize this morning. This is Energize Live. We make magic. We also make Energize. That's what we do in the morning together. So it is a Wednesday that feels like a Tuesday, or maybe another day. Like, we love these 4-day weeks. We love them. And yet they throw everything off. So, like, do we even really know what day it is? What day is it today? It is Wednesday. I will tell you that. It is Wednesday, September 7th. Wednesday, September 7th. Listen, I'm going to LA on Friday. I am so excited about this. I just started packing last night, and my entire suitcase, do you want to talk about eliminating decision fatigue? My entire suitcase, every piece of clothing in it is black. I mean, duh. It's almost like I'm going to New York and not California, right? If you looked at my suitcase, you'd be like, I think you're going to the wrong coast. I am much more East Coast than I am West Coast. But we're going to the West Coast on Friday, and everything that I have in my suitcase is black. But you know what they have in California? This is a really cool thing that they have in California. I don't know if they have this where you live, but they do have this in California. They have stores. I don't know if they have this where you live, but they have stores. And I can buy something should I need it when I get there. It's crazy. It's crazy. California is crazy how it has those things. So my entire suitcase is packed with black clothing. And that just makes life so much easier. And I have to show you this. I was showing my team this yesterday. I want to get this ice in, and then I have to show you what I have. And listen, you are about to be so jealous. This thing that I have. Oh my gosh, these tumblers, they work so well that my ice gets stuck in it. And I like to have my ice in my tumbler so that I don't have to go over there and get ice. And they work so well that all my ice gets stuck. And that's not cute. Now we have to just go get more ice. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. It's so crazy that there's stores in California. How are you today? How are you feeling? Like with the, do 4-day weeks throw you off if you work like a regular 9-to-5 job? Blech. I said it. I'm so sorry. If you do, bless your heart. I shouldn't have even said that. I just can't imagine. My gosh, I was just thinking about that this morning. I literally was just thinking about that this morning because I was having a conversation with someone about joining my team as a coach. And I was working through, she was asking me about income, et cetera, et cetera. And I was working through the income that I made as a high school English teacher and how there was such a cap on. And then I was just thinking about being a high school English teacher. And I was just thinking about that life. And you know what? You know what's so interesting? Speaking of my daughter and going to see my daughter, like she loves corporate. She loves corporate. She loves working for Disney Plus. Well, I mean, it's Disney Plus, but she loves corporate. She thrives in that. And so there are people who thrive in that, and that is what they're supposed to be doing. And just the thought of going to a 9-to-5, where someone told me where I had to be at a certain time and what I had to wear. Like, I can't. I like to wear my workout clothes all day long. I just can't. Okay. Are you ready? You're not ready for this. This I saved. To share with you. Okay. So I've got the ice in my cup. I've taken the lid off. We're going to get my straw. We're going to take a drink in a minute, but I saved this to share with you, and I got this last week. Are you ready? You weren't ready for it. Can you see? It's a light up ice cube. It's a light up ice cube. I can even make it different colors. Shall we make it blue? Blue, pink. So then you just put it in your drink. And how my Energize lights up. Oh my gosh. Listen. So this I took from I took several things from the Polynesian last week when we were there. I took those cups, I took this ice cube. I mean, they give it to you. They're not taking the ice cube back, so it's yours to take. Hold though. And I was thinking about when we would go to Disney. And when the girls were young and money was so tight, and we would go, and my dad was in the Navy for 40 years. And so we could stay at a place here on property called Shades of Green, and it's military only. And because it was military, it was less expensive. So we could come and we could stay, you know, for like 10 days. And we would come in the summer when the girls were little, and we would stay for like 10 days. And I remember those trips because, you know, I knew I was supposed to be here. And I love it so much. It's hard for me to explain how much I love it to the depths of my soul. I don't care about the Mickey-shaped pretzels. I don't care about the Mickey-shaped ice cream bars. Like I don't care about the mouse ears or the merchant. Like I just don't care about any of that stuff. It's how I feel when I'm here, and it's every core memory of me, of my children, like everything wrapped up in here. And I remember when we would come, on every trip, I would save everything. I would save these little light up ice cubes. I would save the plastic bags that we would purchase something in, right? I would save I can't even tell you how old this is. This is probably 20 years old. And I've saved it, and I've moved it. I've saved everything. And the reason why I saved everything was because I didn't know when I was coming back. I didn't know when I was coming back. And I needed to have, and I would take when we come home, I would take the merchandise or whatever out of the plastic bag, and I would smooth it out on my bed. My gosh, I can remember this like it was yesterday. I would smooth it out on my bed, and I would fold up the plastic bag in little squares, and then I would tuck it into whatever bag I had chosen to save all these souvenirs. And I still have the bags. I still have some of them that I saved. I still have maps. I have maps they're sitting in my office right now. I have maps that are 25 years old. I have maps that are 20 plus years old. Maps from those first trips. And I saved, we would get maps every time we would go. Like that was a souvenir, the confetti, the ice cubes, the bat, everything. Luggage tags. I would save everything because I didn't know when I was coming back. I didn't know when I was coming back. And I would be so sad when we left. I would be at the Orlando airport, and it would be this visceral sadness when I left. And I would go home, and I would be so sad when I was at home because I didn't know when I was coming back. And you know, you just get to a point in your life where you're like, why am I living a life that's sad? Why am I living a life centered around 10 days? Why am I living a life for my vacation? Shouldn't I be creating a life that I don't need a vacation from? Shouldn't I be creating a life where I can pick up and go to the place that I love so much really anytime I want? You know, we're not put here on earth for life to be hard. Humans have made it hard on all kinds of levels. We talk about that a lot here, don't we? How women make life harder. And certainly, I'm talking first world. I'm not even talking about humans across the planet whose life is truly unutterably hard. But we weren't put here to have a hard life. It's such a miracle that we're even here. We're not put here to live a sad life. We're not put here to live a hard life. We're not put here on this earth to work and grind every single day for someone else to decide that we get, oh, here's your time off. These are your 10 days. Here you go. Here's your 10 days. That's all you get. The rest of the 355, you better be grinding and working. And it just got to the point where I'm like, why am I sad all the time? Why am I living a life? Because what I'm not changing, I'm choosing. Why am I living a life that I'm sad all the time? And sometimes you got to change your mindset, and sometimes you have to change your environment. And I've been thinking about that a lot this week, when I talk about what you're not changing, you're choosing. Sometimes you have to change your mindset around what you're doing on a daily basis. And sometimes you have to change your environment. Sometimes you've got to change the mindset first so that you can change the environment. And I'm not really sure how we got started on that topic, but cheers to a Wednesday. And I remember as my business grew and I started to create more freedom, more flexibility in time, more flexibility financially, more flexibility in time. And I remember the first time where we left, but I already had my next trip planned. And then we would leave and I would already have my next trip planned. And I remember, like, my gosh, I've worked for this. Like, I'm leaving now, but I'm only leaving because I get to come back. And I remember that I started working to create that time and that financial flexibility. And I can vividly remember leaving and going, okay, maybe I don't have to save this bag because I've already got my next trip planned. I still save the bag, but I've got my next trip planned. And it was like baby steps of that realization that I was sad all the time. And that realization I'm saving everything because I don't know when I'll be back. That doesn't feel like a way to live life. I don't think we're put here to live a hard life. I don't think we're put here to live a life where you're living for 2 weeks a year. That's not what we're put here on earth to do. That is not the life that we are designed to live. And it was baby steps, like, okay, how can I change my mindset around this? And then how can I change my environment? Because what I'm not changing, I'm choosing. And if I'm not changing, then I'm sad all the time. If I'm not changing how my life is unfolding, I'm choosing that. And then guess what? I don't get to complain about that because I'm choosing that. I'm not doing anything about that. And it was baby step, and it was building my business. And then it was going and already having the next trip planned, and then it would be little like I vividly remember this too because it was just this time of year, however many years ago, where it was like 2 weeks before. I'm like, girls, do you want to go the weekend before school starts? Should we go to Disney? Yeah, and it was like a totally impromptu, and we could. Like, I had built my business to the point where we could do this impromptu August weekend trip to the Walt Disney World and come down and stay at the Contemporary. And it was step by step, and then you just get to the point where you're like, even the more frequent trips just weren't enough. And the calling on my heart to be down here was too strong. And it'd been calling me since I was born, It'd been calling me since I was born. And at some point, you got to stop ignoring that, or you're going to go to your grave regretting that. And, I'm sure you've heard of books and what do I want to say, research studies and, scientific stuff that where they interview people at the end of their life. And it's always what they hadn't done. And I remember John Acuff talking about this on one of his podcasts, and he said that one of the biggest regret that people said over and over and over again, that they hadn't traveled more. But over and over, it's the regret of what you hadn't done, the regret of living in the status quo, the regret of just doing what everyone else expected them to do, not actually following their heart, over and over and over again. That's the big regret. I didn't follow my heart. I didn't follow my curiosity. I did what everyone else expected me to do. I just towed the line. I followed the status quo. That's the biggest regret. Well, if we know that, right now, then we can do something else. Right? And what you're not changing, you're choosing. So I don't even know how we got onto this topic, but that's sort of how we got down here to Florida. Was I got tired of being sad, and that just seemed like a not great way to live life, you know? So I don't know how many of you had a chance. I just posted it, so probably not. Today's daily dose of real talk. I just posted it. And listen, it requires your participation. It requires your participation because I posted about mantras. How do you feel about mantras? Do you have mantras? Do you use mantras? Do you have a mantra for your life that guides you, or more than one, or piece of wisdom that someone shared with you? And I was thinking about it this week because the book that I'm reading, Creativity Inc., was talking about these mantras that the company Pixar uses to kind of guide their culture. And I was thinking about mantras, and I have two that have always guided me. We probably have more than two. You probably do too. But I have two that have always guided me. One comes straight from my dad, who was a 40-year Navy man, and he would say, shower, shave, bleep, show up. And those two words, show up, really have guided me my entire life. The idea of show up, the idea of you show up when it's inconvenient. You show up when, you show up when you don't want to. I think of it like when I think about how that mantra plays out in my life. So let's say I go to a conference, I sit in the front row and take notes. That's how I show up. And those two words have guided me my entire life. And they guided me because I watched my dad live them. So it's, as parents, we have to remember, we don't get to tell our kids one thing and then do something else and expect them to do what we say. They're absorbing what we're doing, what we're modeling, what we're living. So my dad would say that mantra, but he lived that mantra. He lived that show up piece. And because he lived it and because he said it, I absorbed it, and it became part of who I am. And that you show up. You show up. It doesn't matter whether it's convenient or not. You show up, and you show up to do the work, and you show up to do the stuff that's uncomfortable. And those two words have really guided me my entire life. So that's one. And the other mantra that has guided me for really my entire life, but it probably not until the last 20 years did I actually put words to it, but because I've always been a child who could not sit still, because I've always been a human, like you should have seen me teaching high school. When I would teach high school, they give you this lectern, whatever, and then they give you a desk. I do not know how many teachers I would see. They would be sitting on a stool behind their lectern. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I might use the lectern, but I had music playing in my classroom, and I was walking around. I had the lectern for my notes. So I was walking around, like, I did not sit very well. I'd stand at my lectern and grade my papers or whatever. I've never been a person who could sit still very well. And when I fell into the fitness and health and wellness space, I realized something that I'd kind of known all my life. But I really realized it when I fell into the health and wellness space, and it got more structure around it. And that is, here's my other mantra: everything is better on the other side of a workout. Everything. Everything's better on the other side of a workout. I don't care how long the workout is. I don't care how hard the workout is. It doesn't matter intensity. It doesn't matter. You are a better human on the other side of moving your body. You are a physical being who needs to move your body, and you're a better human being on the other side of moving your body. And again, this weird world that we've designed that requires us to be like in front of computers and stuff all the time, and we get so sedentary, and then we wonder why we're grumpy. We wonder why we don't have any energy, and we wonder why we don't feel right. Because we're not moving our bodies. And everything is better on the other side of a workout. You are more patient. You are more kind. You are a happier human being, 100%. And when my husband and I got married, it took about a nanosecond to come to a very mutual understanding that I'm going to get my workout in, and I'm going to figure out when that's going to happen. And you're going to be responsible for figuring out when your workout's going to happen. But either way, the workout's going to happen. And I don't care where we are. I don't care how old our kids are. This girl's going to get a workout in, and then I will be a much better spouse and parent. And that mantra has guided me. Like I can even remember right after my dad died, and Jesse was born in June, and you can't drive a car right after your child's born. I shortened that curve a little bit. So Jesse was born. I waited, I don't know, maybe 10 days or something. And then, because we were in Wisconsin, and then I drove down to Illinois, and then we were there, I don't know, a week, not long before he passed away. And so I've got a tiny month-old newborn. I've got a 3-year-old and I've got a 5-year-old. And I've got a mom who, is dealing with that. I've got a sister who is useless. And then my brother and I doing everything, okay? Everything. And I can remember, like, my former high school English teacher who lived in my town, because remember, I lived in a tiny little town. She'd go, what do you need? And I go, can you just come over so I can take a walk? And she would literally just come over and watch them, because I had a newborn, and I didn't want to be walking my newborn around whatever. I just needed a moment. She would come over. She'd just sit with the baby so I could just go take a walk. Or my aunt would come over. I'm like, I just need to go take a walk. And even in those times when like everything was so hard, if I could just get out and move my body, I could come back and handle all the logistics of the death that you have to handle. And it just became so apparent to me. And this is before, I didn't get into the health and wellness space as a profession until after he passed away. So not until like January of the next year, of 2002. In November 2001, someone said you should start teaching group exercise. My dad passed away in July. November, someone said you should start teaching group exercise. I started teaching in January of 2002. And that's, I think, when you get that structure around it and you start teaching on a regular basis, and you're like, oh, no wonder I'm a better human, even though you already know, right? Like that's just been a mantra that has guided me my entire life. Everything is better on the other side of a workout. Everything's better on the other side of movement. It does not matter how long or intense or whatever it is. We are physical beings. Yes, Brooke, we don't need to hide under a pillow. That does not do anything to move the feelings through the body. You've got to actually move the body. And I promise you are a better human being. It's why I'm so passionate about health and fitness. I don't care what kind of fitness you're doing, but if you're not moving your body, you are doing such a disservice to your mental and physical health. Really, I think your mental health. So that is one of my big mantras, is everything is better on the other side of a workout. And it has absolutely nothing to do with size and shape and society expectations and the size of your clothes or any of that other BS that we're bombarded with. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with I'm a better human being after I've moved my body. So think about it. If you know you're a better human being after you move your body, why would we ever procrastinate or not be moving our body? Like, don't you want to be the best human being that you possibly can? Don't your children deserve the best parent? Doesn't your spouse deserve the best spouse? Doesn't your coworkers deserve the best you? Like, doesn't everyone around you deserve the best you? Don't you deserve the best you? If you're a better human being on the other side of moving your body, why would you ever go, oh, I just don't feel like working out today? So what you're saying is, I don't feel like being a good human today. I just don't feel like being a good human today. I don't feel like being a little bit more patient. I don't feel like being kind. Just try saying that. I don't feel like being kind to my children today. I don't feel like being patient with other people today. I don't feel like doing my best today. I don't feel like go after my goals and dreams today. I don't feel like having energy to go create my life on purpose with purpose today. Because that's really what you're saying when you're like, I just don't feel like working out today. So you just don't want to be a good human today. Okay, all right. Try saying that and see how that feels. Because I truly believe it has not one iota of anything to do with your intensity or the length or whatever, but freaking move your body. Just move your body and stop saying, I don't feel like it. Stop it. Go move your body. We're doing this for a higher purpose. You are a better human being on the other side of a workout. When you sweat and you move and you, like, I think about the program that I'm doing, the lifting program that I'm doing right now. And every time I pick up a little heavier weight or I do the reps with the heavier weight or whatever, I'm like, listen, I'm kind of a badass. Which comes from my workouts. And if you think that doesn't translate into everything else that you're doing in your life, you don't understand the mental physical connection. Of course it does. You're a better human being on the other side of your workout. And when I prove to myself that I can do a heavier weight, when you prove to yourself that you can do one more squat or another lunge or move a little differently or with a little more intensity or whatever, and you just move your body, you create feelings and beliefs about yourself that don't happen outside of movement. You create a belief about how strong you are, about how capable you are. And when you are in that movement, it doesn't matter what you look like. It only matters what you feel like. And you feel better on the other side of it. So that's my mantra. That's been one of my mantras for life. Everything's better on the other side of a workout. So today's daily dose shares those two mantras, the show up mantra and everything's better on the other side of a workout. And why is it's time to get ready for your flight to Los Angeles. Girl, I'm not flying till Friday, so I don't know why. This is Wednesday, right? I don't know why. I'm getting a text from Delta. Delta, you need to calm down. You're 2 days ahead of schedule. So those are my two mantras. Show up and everything's better on the other side of a workout. And I put that on my daily dose of Real Talk today, and what I'm hoping today is a participatory daily dose. I need a participatory daily dose. Go to that daily dose of Real Talk, and in the comments, share your mantras because you have them, and maybe you have to think about them for a minute. And in the book that I'm reading, Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull, he was talking about these mantras that Pixar uses, and he was sharing why they worked. He was dismantling them. He was creating new ones. And so just the idea of mantras had been on my mind for a while. And those two have guided me for a long time. And I would love to know what guides you and what mantras you use. Because here's the deal. You might share something today in those comments that someone reads, and it's the very thing they needed to read. You might share a mantra that works for you that becomes the very mantra that someone else needed today too. So how cool is that? Okay, I would be remiss if I did not add, today you have 3 more days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, to sign up for the Compass community, which is ever growing. Last night I was looking at the message thread in there and someone wrote, like, this message thread is fire. I'm like, it really is. Like, it's so amazing. And I know that I get very passionate about this because I literally don't understand. I don't understand humans sometimes. I don't understand. You buy the planner. The planner's amazing. Okay? Let's not beat around the bush. The planner's amazing. You get some videos from me that I walk through as to how to use the planner. Also amazing. But here's the thing. Okay, let me use this example. Bob Iger, who wrote the book Ride of a Lifetime. Okay, he wrote the book Ride of a Lifetime. It is my most read, my most gifted, and my most recommended. Someone today just tagged me on Instagram and said they just got the book because I recommended it. The most read, my most gifted, and my most recommended book, Ride of a Lifetime. Bob Iger is in the midst of writing a second book. Okay, I want to be the kind of CEO that Bob Iger is. If Bob Iger writes a second book, and let's say Bob Iger, who will never do this, but let's just say he does, goes, I'm going to run a group or a book club. I'm going to run a book club around my book. And I'm going to be in there. I'm going to do some calls on this book. You're going to have direct access to me, and you're going to be able to ask me questions. And you're just going to be able to really connect with other people in there who are also reading this book. Why on God, you could not, you better get out of my way because I will run you over to get to my laptop to sign up for that. Because why would I not want to put myself in space with this human being who is such an influence on me that I've never met, who's such an influence on me, who's created a book ride of a lifetime that I read over and over and over again, and that guides me in how I live and think and lead. And if he wrote a second book and said, I'm doing a book club on it, you should join. Literally, I would run you over to get to my laptop to sign up for it. I don't care how much it was, right? Because I want to get in that space. I want to put myself in the place of most potential. I want that proximity to the power of the influence that I might get from being around him. So I am not Bob Iger, okay? Please do not get this twisted. Please do not get this twisted. What I'm saying is, if someone creates a tool, and the tool is something that you love, and you can see how it's changing your life, and that person also creates a community where other people are using said tool, and we're talking about said tool, and we're focusing on this tool, and we're having great conversations about the tool, and we're having conversations about goals and dreams to help you level up. Why on God's green earth are you buying the tool and not getting into the community? This makes no sense to me, and you cannot even come up with an explanation for it other than I just haven't. Well, that's not an explanation. If you think the tool can change your life, wait till you get in the community. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. You've got today, Thursday and Friday, and then it is closing. I was answering this yesterday on my stories. Someone asked me if it was going to reopen. I haven't made that decision yet. I have not made that decision if it's going to reopen, but I do know that if it does, I'm going to think on that. I'm going to close it on Friday, but I do know that if it does happen to reopen, it will not be for this price. This is like founder price. You know, it's beta test price. And I'm going to reward the people who, like Megan, who, Carissa, who have said yes to it. I'm going to reward the people who are like, I'm putting skin in the game, and I'm getting in the game, and I'm getting this community, and I'm going to surround myself with other people who are on a mission. And then someone else asked me yesterday, like, well, how many people are in the group? Am I going to get lost in the group? And I'm like, you know what? I went to a high school, and this is no different for this than it is like for my team, Sparta Nation, or anything. I went to a high school of 90, my graduating class had 96 kids in it. My high school was about 300. My daughters went to a high school of about 4,000 or 5,000. Carmel High School was like 4,000 or 5,000. It was like the size of a freaking town. You could get lost in a high school of 300 as much as you could get lost in a high school of 5,000 if you choose to. That is all on you. Someone could be just as invisible in a high school of 300 as they could in a high school of 5,000. It doesn't matter how many people are in the group. It doesn't matter how many people are in the team. It matters what you do with that tool and that resource. It matters how connected you are with that tool and that resource. I have a team of thousands. Sparta Nation, my Beachbody coaching team, has a team of thousands. Do you think all of those coaches are as connected and engaged as they could be? No, they are not. No, they're not. And those will be the coaches who will say, well, this business doesn't work. No, my friend, the business works if you work. And part of that work is being engaged and connected. Because why would you not want to take your plug and plug it in to a power source of absolute, utter positive energy and enthusiasm and positivity and leaning in and learning and growing and cheering for you? I don't know. I don't know why some people don't want to. I don't know why some people want to float through life on their own, thinking they can do it on their own. But I'm telling you, if I've got an opportunity to take my plug and plug it into a power source where I can lean in, level up, and get better and become the best version of me that I possibly can, this constant evolution of growth, why on God's green earth would I not be doing that? That makes no sense to me. And there's no way you can explain that to me. Some people just choose to sort of float around and do their thing. So there'll be people in the Compass community, no matter how big or small it is, who will never really engage as much as they could have. And they'll go, I just didn't get very much out of it. Well, no duh, because you didn't show up and put anything into it. And it's no different than on my team, Sparta Nation. There'll be people who go, the business doesn't really work. I'm not really connected to that. Well, no duh. because you're not connecting, because you're not engaging. You've made no effort to get to know any of these incredible humans who are on your team who want nothing more than your success. It's on you. Lean in, level up, get better. Humans are pack animals. Why do you want to do life on your own? Why? Makes no sense to me. Okay, so we covered a lot today, and I'm going to take my my light up ice cube and my Energize out to the porch to lanai. I'm going to watch a little bit of the sunrise, and I'm going to do my compass journal, my compass planner. I'm going to press play on freaking leg day. Listen, today's podcast day. There's a new episode, so grab that. I did a great podcast conversation yesterday with author Erin King. This is her name. I'm going to write it in the comments. Please go follow her. I think her IG handle is Mrs. Erin King. Go follow her. She's got an awesome book, and she's got a new book coming out in March. She's fantastic. You're absolutely going to love her. I'm doing another podcast episode conversation today with my mindset coach, Brad Bizjack. Very excited about his new program coming out. We're going to talk about that. You're going to be hearing me talk a lot about that. I'm a huge believer in what Brad has to offer, and so much so that I've invested 5 figures in him for my team in 2021. 5. For my team. That's how much I believe in him. I invested the equivalent of what I used to make teaching high school English. And you're going to hear a lot about that. So we have a conversation with that today. And Friday I go to LA. So, and you already know. I am leaving Walt Disney World and I'm going to Disneyland. You already know we're going to Disneyland. I think we're going on Saturday. We're also seeing Ben Platt in concert. If you don't know who he is, look him up. So all kinds of fun things are happening. But first and foremost, Compass Community closes on Friday. And Tiffany, I feel like that too. Freaking leg day again. I would do shoulders all day, every day if I didn't have to do leg day. Compass Community closes on Friday. And remember, my fast track into coaching starts September 19th. So if you are not a coach, not associated with a coach, let's talk about that. Oh, you know I'll post pictures of Disneyland. You know I will. So you'll get all the behind the scenes. You probably won't see Josie. She hates being on camera, but I'm going to make her be. Well, I'll make her be on camera this weekend. So send me good vibes for flights that are on time. Smooth flight on time. Smooth flight on time. Okay. I hope you make it an amazing day. Happy Wednesday. Go make some magic today and go over to my DDRT and share your mantras that you use today. And let's spread some positive energy today. Happy Wednesday.